Everybody is having a beautiful Tuesday morning here in Milwaukee. Good to see so many beautiful faces on this morning's team meeting call. So we're going to jump right into it. We have a few people to celebrate up front to start the team meeting call. And first one up, a phenomenal person who actually lives 2 doors down from the house I grew up in. Elissa Berkoff, who has come to KW. Her business is up 100% since her transition just a few short months ago. So Elissa Berkoff, congrats on capping in the month of July. Next up, next person we're here to celebrate is, sorry, my computer's a little slow. Connie Cummings. Connie is always someone who comes with a service-minded attitude, is always willing to give back, is a huge advocate out in the Lake Country office, always willing to help new people build their foundation, and has only been in this business for, I believe, 2 to 3 short years, and has built it to double-digit volume. She'll get north of 10 million this year. Congrats to Connie Cummings, and thank you for all you do to pour into people and come from a service-first minded attitude. Awesome. Next person. This person is so well liked by his clients that one of his past clients went out and bought him a billboard to tell Dave's story under the tagline, "Your experience matters." Dave Gesvain, congrats to you and your family on capping in the month of July. And it's awesome to hear success stories like the ones of the billboard. It's such a great testament to who you are as a person. Congrats. Next up, relatively, again, newer person to Keller-Williams in the Lake Country office, Katie Montalbano, a fantastic mother to her daughters, always working hard to find that balance in life between personally and professionally. Katie, congrats on capping in the month of July. And then lastly, you'll find a very similar theme. This person just recently had a baby on March 6th. Congratulations to Jennifer Whitener. Even with a pandemic going on and having a baby in the middle of it, continues to run her business at a really high level as a part of JSG. Congrats to Jen Whitener on capping in the month of July. So guys, here's what we're going to do. You've kind of maybe seen a little theme over the last couple weeks, but one of the things that I want to kind of jump into next is, one of our real core pillars of serving our communities is how we give back philanthropically, right? Last week, John Lorenz out in Lake Country hosted his event called Protect the Package, raising money for cancer awareness, specifically around men's cancer, and had a really uber successful event on Saturday. So congrats to John. And the next one I kind of want to highlight is, with everything that's going on in the world, it's so important that we keep a philanthropic, service-first mindset to our clients and our communities, of those who we serve. And Brian Schweppe has something he'd love to share with the group around something he's really excited and passionate around, of leading a team of people and raising funds for the Alzheimer's Foundation. So Schweppe, I'm turning it over to you for a few minutes to talk about what you guys are up to.
Thanks, Charlie. Can everybody hear me? Thumbs up.
Yo.
Good morning, Keller-Williams North Shore. Thanks so much for having me. You guys, I really appreciate taking the time to check this out. So I just want to take a quick minute this morning to tell you why we're inspired to get behind this cause, and what's motivating us to partner our business with the Alzheimer's Association. So my grandfather, Ralph Schweppe, received his Alzheimer's diagnosis about 6 years ago. And he was the type of guy that had it all up here. When he was running our business, everybody knew him. He knew all the names and faces of all the customers. He knew their invoice numbers, their account numbers, their truck routes, SKU numbers. I mean, like everything. He was so sharp and so impressive. He used to babysit for my sister and I when we were little, and he would just drive us up and down the streets of our neighborhood telling me these stories about, the guy that lived in this house 30 years ago and the things he was into. And I'm like, Grandpa, like, I wasn't even alive, but that's just the kind of guy he was, man. He had it all in his head, and he was so sharp. He eventually started losing his hearing, which was the first thing that happened. And, he was a really, really proud guy, really well connected. So it was hard for us to get through to him and help him understand that, you got to wear your hearing aids, because this is a contributor to Alzheimer's. It can lead to the development, the acceleration of this disease. And of course, he wouldn't do it. So after a few years, when he moved to the assisted living community, he received his diagnosis and started this terrible journey that he's been on. And we get to see him all the time, of course, and Grandma still gets to see him. He still lights up when she walks in the room. He's nonverbal at this point, but we know he's in there. He smiles with his eyes, he points, he laughs, he eats. So he's there, but it's growing more and more difficult to access the guy that he once was. This is a disease that affects 5.5 million people. So chances are, if you're not affected, you know someone who is. It can't be slowed, it can't be cured. And that's why we're taking this matter into our own hands and committing to this cause. Now, my friend Amanda Gabert, who's the director of the Walk to End Alzheimer's here in Milwaukee, is here to support us as well. Amanda?
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Brian, for sharing your story. So as you guys saw on the last slide, the Walk to End Alzheimer's is actually the world's largest event to raise awareness and funds for Alzheimer's care, support, and research. So the Walk to End, or the Alzheimer's Association, is very proud to host that event. And although the walk will look different this year, we still need everyone's help. Especially through the pandemic, families going through this journey during this difficult time need our help more than ever before because they're working from home and caregiving for their mom and dad at the same time, which can be just as difficult as raising kids during work from home. Or maybe they're not even allowed to see their family or their mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle because they're in an assisted living facility and they aren't allowed to have visitors right now. And the reason why it's so important that we raise funds through the Walk to End Alzheimer's is because all of those funds literally go back to supporting our services that we give out for free to the community. Care consultations, we have a 24/7 helpline, support groups, anything you need, we are here for you. So feel free to go to the next slide and Brian can take it away.
Great, thanks Amanda so much for being here. So there's a corporate competition in our region going on between teams that have been set up through companies, right? So you can see on this list here, I know you guys are gonna love this because we're such a competitive group, right? So we're currently number 2 in fundraising against Baird, Northwestern, Stoll, Direct Supply. I'm sure these are companies we've all heard of. So we've set a pretty awesome goal here to raise $10,000 for this event. So I'm here to challenge us as a group this morning. Get ready. If we can get 100 business owners from our group this morning to self-raise or self-donate or raise $50, just $50 for this cause, we are going to absolutely crush this fundraising goal. We've already raised about $3,000, so we're well on our way, but we would be the #1 fundraising team in all of Wisconsin if I can get your help on this. How awesome would that be? Also, just a side note, because again, I know how competitive we are, Diana Pecorelli over at the Southwest office of the father-daughter team is speaking to her market center this morning or about noon today with the same ask. So I just feel like it would be so awesome if we could edge them out too, don't you think? So again, if I could just get 100 business owners from our meeting today to self-donate or raise $50, we will obliterate our fundraising goal and be the #1 fundraising team in all of Wisconsin. And it would mean so much to me and so much to Amanda to have your support. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions. This is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of ways that you can get involved. You can join our team. I can tell you what that looks like. And you can sponsor with your business if you'd prefer and get some exposure for your own brand. Any of those things are on the table for you. All the answers are just a phone call away. So again, Charlie, Mandy, thanks so much for having Amanda and I this morning. And I want to encourage you guys to reach out. Thanks so much. Let's make it a great week, KW.
Cool. Thanks, Schweppes, and thank you, Amanda, for jumping on. And guys, you know, I really try and protect your time, and it's also, I think, very vital in 2020. You know, one of the things that I look at is a lot of people are having success financially in our business when most of the world is struggling. And so it's important to me and as our leadership group is to remind everyone, whether it's Alzheimer's or cancer awareness or racial inequality, it's just making sure that, you know, what you give is what you'll get back in life. And just making sure that our philanthropic efforts in our community, that we're all supporting each other and all of those things. And I would also go on to say that if there are other avenues in which you guys like to participate philanthropically, please reach out to me. I want to support as many organizations as we can. So thanks, guys, for jumping on to talk to us about the Alzheimer's Association. All right, Lindsay, Brad Yates, you're up with Tech Tuesdays, talking about the consumer app and all the power it has in the palm of your hand.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. All right. So today we're talking about the consumer app. And I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that are really great talking points that you can have with your clients. Just a couple of things that you can interact with them through the app. And one of them is saved searches. So you can save these searches through command once you have them added as a contact, or if they've downloaded the app, they're going to automatically get funneled into your command database. And you can go in there and then set a range or of search criteria for an area your client is interested in. And so these saved searches get saved along with their saved searches and collections in their app when they're viewing it. So Charlie, if you want to go to the next slide, we'll take a look at where you can do that. So this is setting it up through the contact and command. And I'm so sure you've all seen this page and seen that tab where it says saved searches. And so you can set up multiple saved searches for a contact. And then the next slide is going to just take you through just the different criteria that you can set up for them. So you can search by different neighborhoods, and you can add multiple neighborhoods in that search, or you can do a zip code. So a really cool feature, similar to the MLS, but this is just an added feature, added bonus to the KW app, and really great talking point when you are sharing the app with your clients. Now, the other thing that is available to your clients is adding a co-buyer. And I'm going to throw it over to Brad. Brad, if you're on, if you want to talk a little bit more about this. And how
co-buyer is like a spouse, a partner, a business partner. You can add them on, and it links the three of you, the three of us up, potentially. You, them, and me. And so what I'm looking at and what my husband is looking at will also be seen by our agents, say, which is me also, but, you know, and then we can look between each other. So, and what's nice is the thing that I've run into is a husband will say one thing and their partner or your two people will say things. And then when they're in the midst with each other, they don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. But then when they're looking at homes, they're looking at, you know, I want a she shed, but I don't want to offend my husband. You know, or I want something else. And so with them, you know, partnering up, you see and you can really get a better idea of what the group and what would make everybody happy in the end. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's really easy for them to add this. The next slide is just going to show you where you can do that. And so this is the screen where you're going to brand yourself as the agent. And so this is just another great talking point. Just say, you know, if you're meeting with the client, maybe you're having a buyer consultation, here, download my app. This is where you can add your co-buyer. And then once you are starting to save properties, save searches and collections, you're going to see your spouse or your co-buyer's collections along with your own in your app. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say another great thing about the search is when you're doing your forward conversation and you get to that dream part and you know they're looking for a particular place, maybe Naples, Florida, or the Keys, you can set up a search within Command the app and it's just gonna sit there and you have multiple searches, but that one's gonna let them know, hey, this is my dream I'm working towards and this is what's out there. So you implement everything that you're talking about into this one little app.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're going to be talking more about the app today at noon.
You're quiet, Charlie.
Can we, quick follow-up question from the chat section is, can we access the search from our phones or is it still only computer?
Is that when setting it up, I would assume?
I believe so.
That has to be through command. So eventually the Kelly app is going to get updated to be a little more command mobile. And eventually you're going to be able to access a lot of those things through the command mobile app. But for right now, you do have to log into command and set that search up there.
Got it. So guys, if you think about it like this, the app is probably the most powerful tool you can leverage and utilize. And if data the information and the data of what that tells you within the search function of how your clients are looking for homes is so powerful to be really the clear choice for your clients. And so I really urge you, it's a really, really powerful tool with great data for you to be able to leverage for your clients. And so today, Lindsay and Brad will be going through the app and how to leverage the power of that app for you and your clients. Cool. All right, Kimmy, you're up. Some compliance updates.
Good morning, everybody. So I just have a few updates, things we've talked about, but just want to update you on. A reminder that there are 2 new state forms, the WB11 residential offer to purchase and the WB14 condo offer to purchase. Both of these forms have a mandatory use date of September 1st. They are both available to use now. They're both in zip form. So you can use the old one right now or the new one, but come September 1st, you have to use the new one. And then these will be updated in DocuSign rooms as well. Another reminder about continuing education. So all agents are required to complete 18 hours of continuing ed. It's every even year, so we're on an even year, so everybody has to do this. You can see that there are 6 required courses. There's no more of those elective courses. Instead, all 6 of these are required. The next slide will show where the best resource to do your continuing ed. I recommend through the WRA. If you go to WRA.org, there's a tab for education, and you'll see real estate continuing education, and you can sign up right there, get your classes registered. This must be completed by December 14th. There are some other continuing ed providers on the DSPS website. If you need help finding those, let me know. But again, I recommend through the WRA. And then once you are finished with your continuing ed, please email myself or Steph with your certificates, letting us know that you've completed your continuing ed. And again, just a reminder that this is for everybody. So the only people who are exempt from doing continuing ed are those who receive their license after October 1st. So if you have your license right now, you have to do continuing ed even if you just got it yesterday. And then once you do complete your continuing ed, you're not quite done there. You will have to officially renew your license. That will be through the DSPS website. And that will kind of open up around October. So once we get closer to that, I'll kind of take you through the steps of how you need to do that. And then our last reminder today is just another reminder about trust funds. We're still getting a lot of paper checks. So we want to remind you as listing agents to remind buyers agents that trust funds is the easiest way to deliver earnest money. So we have a earnest money protocol that was emailed out. Please let me know if you need another copy of this. I believe it's also on our files and our Facebook page. But all they need to do is in MLS, click on the tab, will be a drop down from more, and they'll see a trust funds link. And then they just indicate that the funds should go to the listing broker, and they'll fill out their buyer's information, and a link will be sent to the buyers. Then everybody gets an email notification once those funds have been delivered, and then another email once they've been processed into the trust fund account. And then a final reminder about in the event a transaction terminates, buyers getting their earnest money back. It is permissible for the buyer to receive their earnest money back electronically only if they actually delivered it electronically, and this must be indicated on the cancellation agreement. So where you're acknowledging how or where the funds are going to be dispersed to, instead of including an address. If you put an address, we're going to mail a hard check back to the buyer. But so you can strike that line and indicate that the trust funds shall be delivered electronically. And that is all my updates for you today.
Cool. Thanks, Kimmy. A lot of quick reminders, but a lot of things that we continue to see. You know, many people have not continued or completed their continuing ed. I highly recommend doing that soon, as DSPS is very backed up with everybody working from home. And again, as just a reminder, the trust funds thing is so easy to use, and the disbursement is so simple and quick and painless. It's just we continue to see people, it's probably an underutilized tool across the MLS. And so we just thought it was important to provide a few reminders for you guys there. One other thing that I will send out too is our follow-up from this week. I'll send the earnest money protocols so that you guys have that from an instruction standpoint. And then I also want to remind you from a conversation that we had last week as it relates to showing time and the concern around some listing agents who had buyer's agents enter homes unintentionally, like let's just say 2 homes were on the market right next door to each other. There is a way for you to show up or set up a unique code for that listing, your CBS code that we can provide to you as well. So I'll make sure to include these instructions in today's follow-up email as well. But just as a reminder for the safety and liability of you and your clients, this is available on the CenturyLink app as well. Cool. All right, jumping into it is I'm going to go into lore today, and I'm going to look at the numbers a little bit differently instead of the week by week view that you had historically seen. And I'm going to again go back to, facts are friendly, right? And many of you have heard me tell this story before, but either you're telling your story in terms of your business, your results, your insights, or somebody else is telling it for you within the marketplace, right? And what is the message that you want it to be told within the marketplace, and how are you crafting that message so that you're telling your story and somebody else isn't telling it for you? The other thing I would tell you too is success right now is outpacing the market average. And what I mean by that is in a market that's down about 5% year to date, through July of 2020, is some people can raise alarm bells because their business is flat or their business is down 1%. But again, when you look at or define market share, success within your year is outpacing where the market is. If you're doing better than the market, you're in great shape. If you're doing worse than the market, we have some things to work on. So I want you to keep that in perspective. As we look at some of the trends, as what I say, the facts are friendly. So looking at the macro trends across KW and Milwaukee and across the Metro MLS, I pulled some information that was actually sent to me from Mike Ruzicka at the GMAR, and it related to the July home sales indication. And I liked this because it gave us across the entire metro area broken down by county. So if you can see here, July sales in Milwaukee were down 1.2%. Waukesha, they were up 5.2%. Washington up 2.4%, Ozaki up 9.5%. Some of the surrounding areas up pretty significantly. So, in the month of July, sales were actually pretty decently, right? And when you consider that unemployment had risen from historically low levels last year, around 2 to 3%, to almost 10% right now, it's all things considered, the market's been really, really resilient. And as we've kind of stated before, we really benefited of going into the pandemic with a really healthy market. So when you go into something like that healthy, it's easier to weather the storm as we work through this, right? And a big portion of that is continued historically low interest rates have helped continue to fuel buyer interest. So this is closed sales volume in the month of July. And again, I get many requests for this data broken down by county. Which is why I pulled it like this week. Then when you look at it from a July listings perspective, again, similar thing, you can pull it. This is July this year versus July last year, broken down by county. So you can really identify based on your farm where you see kind of the data, what the story is that's telling you. Interestingly enough, this has rebounded really, really nicely. We were able to really weather the storm of March, April, May, June even, to have a nice bounce back. Milwaukee had a really significant bounce back, seeing up 3.7%, while the remaining surrounding areas were down, single digits, which is really, really healthy. Again, continued from where we were to where we're going. So I want to give you some historical perspective as well, right? And the historical perspective I give you is since beginning of 2016, right? This is almost looking back about 4.5 years. It's 55 months worth of data. And here's what you have to understand is listings in the last 55 months, we've only seen 20 months where we saw an increase in listings over the last 4.5 years, right? That's only 36% of the time have we seen listings increase. Yet over that same time period, closed units are up 35 of the 55 months, or 64% of the time. right? This dynamic is simply what's caused prices to continuously rise and buyers having difficulty finding properties to choose from. You can see year over year over year that more properties are going under contract than is coming to the marketplace, which has caused this really, really shrinking dynamic of shrinking inventory. When you look at here of inventory supply, this is over the last pretty much the last 12 months. And on the right is months of inventory supply. And the black line is total months of inventory on the marketplace. Blue is active with offer, and the dark blue is currently active. Here's what you need to know. A balanced market is 6 months of total inventory, right? When we have buyers and sellers that are in equilibrium, we have 6 months of inventory. And in July 2020, we had 1.3 months of supply. That means at its current rate, if we didn't have any new inventory coming to the marketplace, all of the inventory would be sold in 1.3 months. For perspective, July of last year was 2.1 months of inventory. That was a reduction of about 38%. So again, as you talk to your clients and you're helping them understand what's going on in the marketplace, you can see that the trend is actually continuing, or the pendulum is continuing to swing in the seller's market direction, which is what's driving up prices and is what we're continuously seeing, a much more highly competitive market on the buyer side. So knowing all of this, what is it telling us? So here is what I've pulled this every single month, and I finally got the July numbers to share with you, but we can see for historical perspective, we're going to focus on April, May, June, and July, so you can see the trends of where the business is headed. This is what we call positive momentum or wind in our sails, right? So in the month of April, you could see closed units were down 12, but I always like to focus on future production because these are our leading metrics. So future production leading metrics, listings were down 38%, and buyer contracts written were down 32%. Where does that show up? It shows up in May, closed production, right? Lagging metrics. So you see that May was down 28% on closed units. So then we say, okay, you can see the direct correlation there. Again, you show up here, listings taken units in May were down 22%, a better trend than what we saw in April, and buyer contract written units were down only 9%. Where does that show up? It shows up in June. So you can see here the trend as these leading metrics show up here in June. So you can see down 22% in listings taken led to a down 16, but again, the trends were improving April to May, May to June. Then we looked at June and we said, okay, we went from down 38 to down 22 to down 14. Where does that show up for July? And here's the real buck of the trend. Despite being down 14% on listings taken units, right? So that's essentially new inventory to the marketplace. Buyer contracts were up 8% in June. So where does that show up? It shows up in July. And again, as a reminder, this is across the 5-county metro area. And so the 5-county metro area closed units, as we previously kind of showed you in some other slides, were up 5% across the total MLS. This is not Keller Williams. Total MLS, 5-county metro area, we're up 5%. Again, phenomenal trend. And a lot of this has to do with this number right here, right? So as you look ahead as to where we are in July, down 6%, again, continuously seeing positive momentum as it relates to future lead metrics and as it relates to buyer contract written units. I am predicting, and we are already starting to see this within our own internal numbers, August should continuously, August will be one of the best months ever across a multitude of metrics. But I'm sharing this with you to see, so you can see the trends over time on our leading metrics that lead to future production to help create predictable patterns within our business. So as I see it, August and then September moving forward, we should see continued healthy marketplace. What you would typically see in the springtime is just, as we've predicted, is starting to show up in the fall. So year to date across the MLS here, you can see how these numbers have all rolled up into a year to date number across the far right hand side. Cool. I am next. So I also pulled, just for perspective, is how is the marketplace doing, right? So this is total brokerage brands. These brands on this page represent roughly 80 to 85% of the total volume in the MLS. Shore West being the largest player in the marketplace across the 5-county metro area. They have 17% of the market share. Their business is down 5% year to date. You know, in the market's down 5%, and the leading player down 5%. So you can see how that, being the largest market share player, where that trend is kind of having an impact on the business. Keller-Williams is now the second largest brokerage in southeastern Wisconsin with 10.8% of the market share, and the business is up 17%. Again, this is a collective of all your guys' efforts and what you've done throughout the year. And I can tell you, looking across many people's metrics, there's a lot of people having great success. So congratulations to each of you individually and collectively as a whole. But you can see here as I continue on with RE/MAX and First Weber with where their trends sit, and then Coldwell Banker, Realty Executives, and then so on and so forth across the rest of the players in the marketplace. But I share this with you just for perspective to say, you know, we continuously have a very highly productive group of people, and it's awesome to see so many people having tremendous success and sharing in that success together collectively as a whole. So congrats. When you look at it across North Shore specifically, again, I split these up so that you could see across what I call the lag metrics are in red, the green metric or the leading metrics are in green. So everything that we had been working on is what shows up in the red, and everything that we are working on is what shows up in the green. You can see here across KW North Shore, again, as I say, success this year is outpacing market averages. And you can see across every lagging metric, the North Shore group having wild success in terms of outpacing the marketplace. And then the same thing as it relates to leading metrics of where the future of the business is being held, really, really doing a nice job outpacing the marketplace across the North Shore office. I pulled very similar metrics here for the Lake Country office, and this group is just absolutely freaking crushing it. So again, broken down between lag metrics and lead metrics. You can see here the lagging metrics, Lake Country continuously is taking share at an unbelievable pace. Congrats to that group. And then you can see here in the leading metrics across the industry of where the future of the business is going for the Lake Country office specifically. Very, very solid performance for the group out in Lake Country. And then, as I like to share, because this visual is so powerful, this is across the top roughly 20 individual locations in the MLS, and this is a rolling 12-month window. The reason I like to look at a rolling 12-month window is this gives you your trend line of where your business is trending. So again, this is a collective effort of everybody, of what everybody is up to, but the Lake Country crew up 73%, just continuously climbing the ladder. Southwest continuing to have success off of a major base, up 29%, and the North Shore office up 23% on a rolling 12-month trend. Moving on, and then more specifically into our locales or locations for you guys. Again, we're either telling our story or somebody else is telling it for us. And so I much prefer to get this in front of you guys to help tell the story effectively. But you can see here across the North Shore brokers, and this includes all locations across what we consider the North Shore competitive marketplace. So this is downtown up to Cedarburg and to Grafton. You can see here the trend lines across the different brokers servicing the North Shore locations. Again, the North Shore group continuously leaning on each other, learning from each other, taking diversity of thought in new tactics and ways to take market share in the business. Congrats to the North Shore crew. And then I love seeing this group here. The Lake Country crew is that black line that's just on a rocket ship. And you can see here, I broke it down for you guys for perspective based on location within the marketplace. You can see here against the competitive set of where everybody's kind of sitting so far year to date. And then the Lake Country crew up 73%, I apologize, on a rolling 12-month trend. So all of this, again, as I say, it's somebody is telling our story or somebody is telling your story, and it's either going to be you or it's going to be your competitive set. And I constantly hear stories in the marketplace, and so I provide this for you guys as ammunition when you go into buyer consultations, when you go into listing presentations, to know that you guys are working in amongst a highly productive group of peers that are doing this business at a really, really high level and continuously are evolving the industry. Then I said, okay, that's great, but let's look at some of the individual locations as it broken down into future production as it relates to July. In the North Shore office specifically, we paid $2.4 million in commissions in the month of July. It was an all-time company high for a single month. And just so you guys know, because a lot of people like to talk about net effective splits, you guys took home 93%, and your company dollar only accounted for 7% of the total GCI that came in. So across the North Shore office, the average agent, again, blending everything together, the effective split was a 93.7. Oops, and I have some errors here because I kind of mixed up the slides. But anyways, I will fix this. And you see here across listings taken, even though it says Lake Country, this is where I kind of mixed some stuff up. We took 151 listings in the North Shore. It was 63 million in volume. We wrote 333 buyer contracts. It was up over 104% versus July of 2019. And those buyer contracts represented 129 million, which was up 174% in the North Shore office. Just incredible, incredible stuff. As we look forward, again, these are all leading metrics, indicators that we can look at internally to see how the business is going to continue to trend as we move into the fall. Here in the North Shore, or in the Lake Country office, again, I apologize for the errors. This is what happens when I build team meeting at 5 in the morning. You can see here listings taken units. Again, Lake Country office is a building group. We took 22 units of listings in the month of July. It was up 29%. Listings taken volume, 16 million, up 5%. Buyer contracts written, 69 buyer contracts, up 97%. And buyer contracts volume, 52 million, up 89% versus July 2019. Again, all goes back to the collective efforts of this group, and a really massive, massive success. So congrats to you guys. Lastly, this week, Friday, is August 21st. And August 21st represents profit share. And so I'm going to give you some insights as to the profit share that's going to be paid out on Friday, August 21st from July transmittal numbers. So when we looked at profit share in the North Shore, we will be paying out $66,000 to associates. That number is up 61% of July 2020 versus July 2019. The Lake Country crew, specifically to those associates, are paying out $24,723. It's up 126% versus July of last year. And across all locations in Keller Williams, Milwaukee, on Friday, August 21st, we are depositing $128,000 back to Keller Williams Associates through the profit sharing program. Again, it's a massive opportunity for so many people to have incredible passive income. And it's a fantastic way to get involved in building our culture and our community and level of productivity across all associates. So congrats to everybody who will be getting profit share on Friday the 21st. Be on the lookout from a text from Diana or I with your individual profit share deposits. Awesome. All right, we are wrapping it up. And I'm going to wrap it up with a little bit of a sneak peek to next week. And here's what I'd say. Next week, I would not miss team meeting because here's what I'm feeling. What I'm feeling is school is going back into session. I'm feeling people are busier than ever. People are learning to navigate what is going on within this world, politically, racially, health, everything that's going on. And I definitely feel that because people have been unable to get away or unwind, that there's a level of burnout. And so we are very, very fortunate. Sarah Oberbrunner's brother, Kerry, is a nationally renowned speaker. He's an author. He's a coach to many Fortune 500 CEOs, and he consults many Fortune 500 businesses. And next week's team meeting, he's going to jump on to talk to our group around how do you prevent your life from getting hacked. And it's a preview of a book that he has coming out, coming up here in October. So Kerry recorded a video message for us as it relates to him jumping on our team meeting next week, Tuesday, to help. My real goal next week, Tuesday, is to help focus on your mental health heading into the fall. So take a look at this message from Kerry as we head into next week, Tuesday's team meeting.
Hey, human knowledge used to double once every 1,000 years. Today, it doubles every 12 hours. No wonder why we can't keep up. You know what I'm saying? Hi, my name's Carrie Oberbrunner, and I am the brother of the famous Sarah Oberbrunner. But I am absolutely thrilled to be able to chat with you all on August 25th at 9 a.m. Central Time. I have the opportunity to be a speaker, a coach, an author, and I'm going to be sharing with you some fantastic content all about how we can be unhackable in work and life. If you're like me, we have so many distractions that come all around us. In fact, the average person clicks, taps, or swipes their smartphone 2,600 times a day. Most people only get 2.3 hours worth of work done a day. The average focus is about 11 minutes a day. Like, what is going on? It's so tough to keep up today. And so what I want to do is just share with you some practical tips, tools, and tactics that I've discovered that really help us become unhackable. When you're hacked, that means that someone or something gains unauthorized access to a computer or a system. We usually think about it as phones or computers, but the reality is our brains can get hacked. And anytime you and I wake up excited to achieve a goal or do a dream, if we get sidelined or sabotaged or distracted, we actually get hacked. And this affects our mental health, it affects relationships, even our finances. So join me on August 25th at 10 a.m. Central, and we're gonna have a blast as we take a deep dive into how to become unhackable in work and life. Take care, and Sarah's told me so much about you. I'm absolutely thrilled to come and spend some time with this amazing team.
Guys, we're excited to host Carrie next week. And again, as I talked about, before we head into the Labor Day weekend, I really wanted to take the opportunity to focus on your guys' mental health heading into the fall, knowing everything that's going on. And Carrie is a phenomenal, phenomenal person. So I would highly encourage you, grab your friends, grab your family, whoever you'd like to jump on the Zoom call next week to take a break and take a break from the real estate conversation for next week's team meeting to focus on your mental health. And Carrie is a great, phenomenal resource for our group to do that. Awesome. All right, so jumping back in from a training and education standpoint, guys, reminder, Mega Camp registration is now open. Here's what I would tell you about Mega Camp that I'm super excited for. Unlike in years past where they go up and they have a panel and there's a bunch of fluff in the beginning to get to know the person, what they're doing with Mega Camp this year is they're actually pre-recording the panels. And what they're doing is they're editing it so that you guys are getting the most valuable, action-packed, meat-on-the-bones content that you can take and create action within your business. And I'll give you an example. I was on a call last week kind of explaining the Mega Camp experience. And Gary had an interview with an agent, and he said the first 18 minutes of the interview was all a lot of fluff, a lot of this, you rah rah, whatever. And Gary looked and said, this, there's nothing great about this content. There's nothing actionable. And then the last 2 minutes, there were action items. And so what they're doing is they're creating these panels to get you the most action-packed content possible for Mega Camp. I highly recommend you look into Mega Camp this year. I'll make sure to send out the registration link, as I think it will be the most impactful one yet, knowing that they are mining people's interviews for the best content to deliver for you to take action in your business moving forward. So be on the lookout for Mega Camp registration. I'm going to skip through all the agenda so you don't have to, you don't need to hear me speak about it. Here is what the platform looks like as it relates to Mega Camp. There will be breakout rooms. There will be opportunities for you to go into breakout rooms based on levels of production. So you're with people of similar sized businesses and in similar places within life. I highly, highly recommend learning and getting diversity of thought within your business as you think about how you plan to adjust your plan looking ahead to 2021. Lastly, I would say this as a reminder, save the date. We're going to host a Mega Camp Mastermind out at Maureen's home on Beaver Lake in a socially distanced outdoor way with food and beverage as a way to recap it. And I would say this, if you are one of those individuals that is in need and you've had a little bit of a struggle in your business or struggle in life and you think you can't afford Mega Camp, shoot me, Mandy or Diana a note. We have people that want to help support people's level of productivity, and there is scholarship available for Mega Camp. So if you're one of those people that's looking for a scholarship, please shoot us a note, as we want to help people's level of productivity. And there are those in our office who are willing to give back to those that are looking to increase your productivity through events such as Mega Camp. So shoot Mandy, Diana, or myself a note if you're looking for a scholarship into Mega Camp as to why that's important for you. Lastly, the August training calendar is a reminder. I'm leading a coaching and consulting, right? You need a business plan. You need to figure out where the heck you're going or the path that you're on. Come join me Friday at noon. I'm going to be hosting a Zoom, and we're going to get your mind right and your business tight, baby. So join me Friday at noon. Other than that, that is what we have for training and education. Guys, thanks for jumping on. I apologize you had to listen to me a bunch today. We'll make sure that you have the Alzheimer's information to support Brian Schweppy's cause and something that's near and dear to so many people's hearts in a terrible disease. But guys, be great. Have a great week. Be productive. And we look forward to helping you get your mind right next week, Tuesday, with Carrie Oberbrunner. Awesome. Lake Country crew, you can jump over to your Lake Country meetup. North Shore crew, I will transition over to new buyers and listing needs. Have a great week, guys.